Let me have your attention for a moment. Because we're talking about what? We're talking about whiskey? Let's talk about something even more important. Put that charter down. Old charter is for closers only. Now, I'm here from downtown. I'm here from Mitch and Murray. Your friends, they judge you. They judge your whiskey choices. You're sitting around drinking, someone's getting first prize. First prize? Is BTAC. Anyone want to see second prize? Second prize is a set of whiskey stones. Nobody likes whiskey stones. Third prize is Jägermeister. I'm here to teach you about the A.B.Cs of whiskey. A, always. B, BTAC. C, consuming. Always. BTAC, consuming. That doesn't make sense. That's, maybe it's actually the A.C.Bs of whiskey. A, always. C, consuming. B, BTAC. That's not very good sentence structure. Grammatically, we can do better. Maybe it's actually, hold on, it's the A, B, C's, B, A, B, C, B's. Yeah, it's A, always, B, B, C, consuming, B, BTAC. Do you know what it takes to drink whiskey? It takes glasses. Glencairn glasses. All right, well, let's drink some whiskey. What kind of bottles did you guys bring? Hello and welcome. Nice little intro there. That's become a tradition since we started reviewing these media samples in 2020.
I particularly enjoyed it because I had no lines, and that's just how I like it.
Yeah, I asked you, I said, Sarah, I have an idea. Are you okay with having no lines?
And I was like, that's perfect for me, honestly.
Obviously, I feel like we don't have to state this, but we probably do have to state this. That was parody. That's not how we approach whiskey. Your friends aren't really judging you. I mean, some of them are.
Right.
But who cares? Drink what you want to drink and drink at the price point that you want to drink.
Of course.
And what you can find and afford. There we go. Okay. Disclaimer over.
Speaking of that, we probably couldn't find nor afford all of these bottles that we're about to try. Thanks to Buffalo Trace for providing those to us. In no way do we expect that any of you will be able to go out and find all, let alone even one of these, or necessarily afford it at...
But we're pulling for you.
Whatever the prices might be in your area. We just simply, we're pulling for you, and we just simply want to give you our opinions on the bottles in the event that you do run across one or find one in a lottery or something for a reasonable price.
Now, we are going to do this a little bit different this year because we felt in the past, since we've reviewed all 5 in one clip, that we sort of rush so it's not a 40-minute video. So what we did is we took tiny little nips of these beforehand.
We sampled.
To determine our favorite 2. And in this episode, we're going to review our favorite 2. And then in a coming episode, we'll do the other 3. Mm-hmm. So that way we can actually give some proper time to our 2 favorites.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Sarah, what is one of our 2 favorites?
The Eagle Rare 17.
Wow.
This is 2 years in a row for me. This one has been,
Same. It was top 3, bordering on top 2 last year.
Yeah, it was top 2 for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have come to really enjoy this one. 101 proof. 17 years and 4 months, I believe. But last year's was the oldest they had ever done at 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. If you accuse us of being proof hounds, that's fair. We do tend to lean that way. But at 101 proof, this is one of the 2 that we picked, so you can guess as to what the other spot's going to be, or wait, hang around for the rest of the episode and find out. But obviously, I think this kind of proves that it's not always all about proof, right?
And it didn't just become some of our favorites when it went up from 90 proof to the original 101 proof when it was introduced in 1975, because there were still a few years there where it was not breaking our top 3. But yeah, these last 2 years, it's really stepped up, and we're starting to appreciate it. This also means, Sarah, since this one's here, that the other one, we can't have WLW and George C. Stagg, which I think is a lot of people's de facto two favorites. And they have been our favorites in the past. They have been. Absolutely.
Right. So it is rare, that one of those is unseated by this one. So I don't know.
Okay.
I definitely think you get, the age coming through on the nose, but not in an overbearing way. It's not all oak, but it is just enough there, and there's this nice, really nice balance. I mean, you can tell the character of this just from the nose.
Yes, a lot of oak, not super rich, just nice, well-aged charred oak.
And that coupled with some, your classic notes, but also your signature Buffalo Trace notes of what I get is usually like a raisin or a dark fruit, rich berry, plum almost, grape even, sometimes cherry, and some baking spice. Those for me are kind of giveaways as to if being a Buffalo Trace product, that's in there with this really well-balanced oak and those classic caramel and vanilla notes, and I think it's just lovely to smell. I wish I had a candle that smelled like this.
It's almost sort of toasted oak to me on this. A little toasty, yeah. Did you say allspice?
I just said baking spice.
Baking spice,
which allspice is a baking spice, so.
Sort of a little bit of cinnamon, and yeah, it's good. Great nose. All right, let's get into it. To your health.
I mean,
and there's the Buffalo Trace DNA coming into it.
Right. It's exactly what you expect from the nose. There is that balance of that signature Buffalo Trace notes with the perfect amount of oak for the 17-year and 4-month product, and just the right amount of proof. It settles in so nicely, but let's talk, the mouthfeel, I think, is the star here.
Mouthfeel is a headline for sure, and just kind of real quick bouncing off of what you were saying there about the proof being perfect, because another one of our in the lead or in the contention, high contention for best bourbon of the year is the Heaven Hill 18-year, which just has 1 year on this guy, but it's 120 proof. Now, I can't imagine this at 120 proof.
Oh, I could not imagine.
I feel like the 101 is the right proof for this guy, and 120 proof would just be too hot. Whereas the Heaven Hill 18-year is perfectly sitting at that 120 proof, which I think is just a testament to the master distillers, and I guess with Eagle Rare, you don't have a choice. It's either going to be historically 90 or 101 in previous years, but picking and blending the barrels to make that 101 proof just right is a testament.
Now, Chad, we were fortunate enough when we were over in London and they were opening up their Buffalo Trace satellite location over there to get a sample of the Double Eagle Very Rare, which we never thought we would see in our whole lives. Obviously, we've only tasted that one time, but based on your memory, your recollection of that experience, how do you feel that this compares?
I feel like it's not fair because we had stars in our eyes. We were over in London. We'd never tried it. I mean, obviously, the only fair way, and we say this all the time, you're probably tired of it, is to do it blind. However, trying to take that bias out of my head, I believe I liked the oak more on the Double Eagle Very Rare.
Okay. See, that one being Double Eagle, the standard Eagle is 10 years, so this was 20. Not a huge amount of difference between these two in terms of age. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, I would say more like vintagey funk, that type of feeling.
I do feel that this is closer than I would have thought, based on how much more. I mean, this is already a coveted bottle. That, again, I never expected to be able to taste it in my lifetime.
Difference.
And a huge price difference. So for
Retail.
that price difference, I feel that this is closer than I would have thought. So
I deem this Double Eagle Very Rare Junior.
Okay, well, don't get ahead of yourself. No, I just think, like, for me, sometimes that there's too much oak, and I think this is hitting, all the right notes. It's a perfect amount of oak.
I agree.
I'm a big fan.
We've used this analogy before, but it's when you go to a concert, this is their hit. They're playing one of their hit songs, Nothing off the new album.
One of those, desert island bourbons. I feel like, if you could just have a magic bottle that refilled forever and ever and ever, and it could be anything you ever wanted, this, could be a contender for that.
For sure. That cherry note, I'm getting more the typical Buffalo Trace DNA. Yeah, more and more.
Especially on the finish.
On this. I wouldn't really call it a Kentucky hug, but
I would.
It does warm through here, but it's also staying in the palate quite a bit. Now, I do want to talk about how this is
one bottle that we've never been able to own.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but
which is, I think, the story for most everyone out there.
Right. We have 3 of the 5 that we've been able to collect, and definitely friends of ours have helped us with those. You know who you are, and thank you for that. But also, that's been years. That's been more around when we started, 2017, 2018. So we have a George T. Stagg WLW and a Thomas A. Chaney, but never been able to get a bottle of Eagle Rare 17. And I don't know if that'll ever happen, and that's fine. But
I'm just happy to have been able to taste it at all and share our thoughts with them.
Exactly.
Well,
okay.
I guess we should tell them what our other favorite was. Not bury the lead too much.
Okay, well, let's just set this
So I'm gonna set this aside because I'm gonna drink this later.
All right. We're gonna tell you what our second favorite is right after this, because we want to tell you about our home on the internet. It's whiskyambitions.com. It's where you can get the t-shirt that I'm wearing and hat and Glencairn that we just set to the side, our water glasses. In fact, all of our drink glasses over there, our elemental elixir cocktail syrup and bottle cut candles and jar candles, more always coming soon at whiskyambitions.com.
And stay tuned later this month when at the time of this release of this video, because we will be putting out our holiday sales, so be on the lookout for that. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/itsbourbonnight and join our community for as little as $1 a month. We'll be telling you all about the different events we have going on throughout the holiday season there, as well as our barrel picks that are upcoming. Some Russells are on deck, Russell's Reserve.
Yes, they are.
And what else? Oh, after the episode exclusives and more.
There you go. All right, thanks so much, Patreon.
We love ya.
We love ya. All right, we'll be right back after these messages. And we're back. Thanks for sticking around. Our second favorite of the ones we tasted through is George T. Stagg. So one of those 2 big boys, but it's not the WLW this year.
Which is a bit of a shock.
Well, that also
For me,
happened.
it was surprising.
Last year, WLW wasn't the strongest. It wasn't top 3, I want to say.
I don't recall the ranking.
Definitely wasn't top 2.
It wasn't top 2.
Yeah, I think we differed
a little bit.
Just a
smidge.
A spot or 2.
The problem with describing it that way, I think, is that it suggests that it's not good, and that's not the case. It's just that they have been so excellent in the past that it's kind of ruined us for, it's at a high bar for itself, and it's kind of ruined us for what a WLW can be. Even if the bar's up here and it's up here, which is still good, I want it to be up there all the time, right?
We know what it can be.
I don't know, maybe that's very spoiled of us, but I want to give, there are some years that are better than others for different expressions, and that's all that boils down to, really.
We have to be conservative with our pours here, because these will be going into 2-ounce sample bottles blind for our blind best of the year ranking.
That's right.
Sarah, we're looking at 136.1 proof on this guy, which is 15 years and 2 months will be the youngest
that's in
bourbon
here.
that was blended into this blend.
It's about right for me. That's right around where I like it.
More
It's
of
crazy.
The rye presence, I
Yeah,
believe.
how it is related to the Eagle Rare in some ways in terms of that Buffalo Trace DNA and the oak, but it's also very different. It's not the same thing.
No.
It's bolder, I think. It's darker.
Bolder, richer, fuller.
Now with 2 times the Stagg.
More mature, you start talking about it and your voice just starts getting deeper. It's built for tough.
Yeah, a little more.
It's built George T. Stagg tough. There we go.
What you said about the Eagle Rare in terms of it having kind of more of a toasted oak note, even though it's not a toasted product, it's again, they're obviously cousins or whatever, but this one is higher proof. I think it has more of your traditional oak, maybe a deeper, darker, richer.
Yeah. More of a syrupy, sugary type of, almost molasses type of nose there. Wouldn't really call it desserty, but just sweet and savory.
Yeah, sweet and savory, really, really dark berries, or again, plums, figs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That
Which
raisin
is
note.
very typical when we're talking about this type of
but it was more
expression.
cherry on the Eagle Rare.
Well, it definitely was on the palate. Let's find out. To your health again.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Heavier in the oak, which is crazy because the youngest is not as old as the Eagle Rare, 17 year and 4 months.
Correct.
But this has more oak. Maybe that's due to the proof.
I feel, because it's a little dry, a little bit on that first sip.
Yeah.
Gonna get acclimated, of course, on the second sip, but yeah. Oh, hello. Now this one's traveling into a Kentucky hug. Yeah, there we go. That didn't take too long.
No, not at all. Warms you right up. Tobacco, really intense oak, dark berries.
Yeah, figs, plums.
Some clove in there.
Second sip, even though I'm not ready yet.
It is initially very coating, and then it does kind of like evaporate quickly, I guess. But the notes of the finish stay there. It's just that the way that it texturally like moves,
Yeah,
is different than the Eagle Rare.
agreed. Yeah, it's almost like forgive me, a savory steak. How it can sort of your taste buds just sort of almost, because it's so like, you know, a little bit of char on there, you know, the grill marks, a little bit in that way. God, this would go well with a steak. I really want a medium rare juicy
Well, you can't.
steak with this.
When we're done with the best of the year,
If there's anything left,
you enjoy that, right
okay.
with your steak.
All right,
okay.
I'll do that. But that's sort of what we're working with here, and I feel like that grape juiciness that comes more on the back end. So it's a little counterintuitive because, yeah, as you said at the beginning, great mouthfeel. Then sort of gets a little dry, and then as your taste buds start to bloom, open back up, then here's this like salivating savoriness where you're just like, oh, the cherry, the berry, the plum, give me a steak, rare, right now. It's a ride. It's a ride.
It is a ride.
Wow. But all that didn't happen until the second sip. Just speaks to getting yourself acclimated to a whiskey, especially if you're coming off of another whiskey. Oh.
Yeah, wow. This one has a lot to say. It is very bold.
It's bold. It
is distinguished.
Uncut, unfiltered, Sarah.
Truly.
Yes. Speaks its mind.
It does. So now, an interesting question for you.
Yes.
Choose between
Hit
these
me.
two.
Okay, is this another question that I want to answer?
This is a this or that.
Oh boy, this or that.
Eagle Rare 17 or the George T. Stagg.
It just turned into a drink this or that, folks. All right, going back to the 101 after 136.1. Yeah. I'll tell you this, I'm surprised how the nose really.
I was going to say, I think
stood
you'll
up.
find that it stands up pretty well.
It does, but it is a little thinner than when I had it before I had the George T. Stagg.
Well,
which
of
I think
course, because it's had water added.
Yeah, water added in the process. We didn't add water.
Right, we did not add
just
water,
to be clear.
yes. Getting it proofed down to 101, water has been incorporated.
Correct.
Versus the George T. Stagg, which has had no water. Man, that Stagg really does stick. Oof, it
We've always said a Stagg bucks.
bucks.
But I feel like with a second sip of the 101, that oak, because already the oak is there, but I feel like a second sip of the 101, the oak is just going to be like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just a different type of oak, but I am 17 years, whereas this other guy is, around 15. Wow, yeah, the 101 really does benefit from a second sip. You get acclimated back to that proof. The oak is really, really nice. You went back to the Stagg?
I did, just to see.
All right, I have a feeling we're going to be different, but
Probably.
let's put our hand over. So this is 101, this is Stagg, or this is Eagle Rare.
Why don't we just do this?
Ah, okay, this is Eagle Rare, this is Stagg.
It's written on the bottom.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I thought so. Yes. So you prefer the Eagle Rare 101, 17 year, I should say. Mm-hmm. I prefer the George T. Stagg of this year, but pretty close for me. How is it for you?
I think it's pretty clear for
Okay,
me.
pretty clear?
The reasons why I feel that way is I feel that the Eagle Rare 17 is an extremely harmonious bourbon. It's striking all the right notes. There's definitive notes on the nose, the palate, the mouthfeel is incredible. The finish is just it's not too intense. It does warm you up. It sticks around. I think it's all very well balanced. I think it's an incredible product. The George T. Stagg is very good, but I do think that way that it evaporates off your tongue quickly, and I think that is due to the proof. And it's so much oak that it does leave a little bit of bitterness on the finish too, for me. That with that feeling of it evaporating quickly
Sure.
are small, minor notes.
For these reasons.
Teeny tiny minor notes. But for these reasons, the Eagle Rare, I think, is just overall it's checking all the boxes. It's hitting all the marks.
Okay, so for me, if the George T. Stagg hadn't of recovered from the dryness and hadn't opened up into like this salivating, savory, excuse the term, juiciness, then I would probably be on the, in fact, I know I'd be on the Eagle Rare. But the fact that it did do that brought it back for me. And you mentioned bitterness on the George C. Stagg. I actually get a little bit of bitterness on the Eagle Rare 17. I think it's because it's that 17-year oak versus the 15.4 youngest in the Stagg. So
to each his own.
yeah, exactly.
This is why.
And that's
don't always take everyone's word for it.
That's the beauty of whiskey.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answers. So there we go. I think this was a better format this year. We got to really
dig into
our two favorites more, and we'll have plenty of time to dig into the three others in a upcoming episode, and then we'll give you our overall ranking. So as it stands right now, Eagle Rare, George C. Stagg, George C. Stagg, Eagle Rare. We'll find out what is third through fifth after that.
So stick around for that episode. We hope you enjoyed this format, but let us know in the comments if you like all 5 in one video, or if you like the idea of breaking them up so we can talk a little bit more about each one.
I feel like this video was long enough as
Tell
it
us.
is.
I agree. Imagine this being, 3 more tastings
all
longer,
that,
right?
yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, that's where we better leave it. If you haven't subscribed to us already, you can do so by clicking right up here. There's suggestions of other videos down here. Hope to see you over there in one of those. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Chad.
Okay, see y'all next time. Until then, drink more bourbon.